Thank you very much, Ceann Comhairle, and I am delighted to move the Protection of Residential Mortgage Account Holders Bill 2014. And this bill, if enacted, would ensure that the same vital statutory protections that mortgage holders in Ireland currently enjoy would continue to apply if their financial institution sells their mortgage to an entity that is not regulated in Ireland. This is the same issue which was raised on Leaders' Questions by Deputy Donnelly today. Every mortgage holder in the country should be concerned about this issue, not just the IBRC mortgage holders whose mortgages are currently being sold by the special liquidator. Because the reality is that if the government is prepared to pull the rug from under the IBRC mortgage holders, there is no reason why they will not do it to every other mortgage holder in the country if their bank decides that they intend to sell the mortgage book. If AIB, Bank of Ireland, Permanent TSB or Ulster Bank decided tomorrow that they were going to sell off their mortgage book to an overseas investor, with the result that the mortgage holders would lose essential protections, would the government stand back and allow that to happen? On the basis of how the IBRC issue is being approached by government, the answer, I'm afraid, is yes. But what is being done to the IBRC mortgage holders is utterly disgraceful, and it is indefensible, and it simply cannot be allowed to happen. So let's look at what a mortgage holder will lose if their mortgage is sold to a so-called vulture fund outside of Ireland. And that is a very distinct possibility, Taoiseach. Well, first of all, the Code of Conduct on mortgage arrears will not apply. And even though this government diluted that code, it still provides absolutely vital protections for borrowers, especially if you get into any difficulty whatsoever in repaying your mortgage. The code, for example, requires the bank to undertake a series of steps to work with the mortgage holder in coming up with a solution to their mortgage distress. And if the worst comes to the worst, it ultimately delays significantly any effort to repossess the family home. In the absence of this code, the mortgage holder is vulnerable, exposed and isolated. If they get into difficulty, they will be dealing with an unregulated, unsympathetic foreign fund out for a quick buck. And that is the simple and harsh reality. The truth is that fund can move on that mortgage holder pretty much immediately if they get into any level of difficulty with their mortgage. A borrower whose mortgage is sold to a vulture fund will lose access to the Financial Services Ombudsman, a crucial channel for resolving disputes between banks and mortgage holders. In addition, an unregulated fund facing no competitive pressures whatsoever in Ireland and immune to any reputational fallout in this country is far more likely to jack up variable interest rates as it suits them. The government response to the plight facing IBRC mortgage holders has been nothing short of miserable so far. The subtext is from government that if we force an unregulated entity to provide the same protections to consumers, then they will pay the special liquidator less for the mortgage book. Well, my answer to that is very simple. If they are prepared to pay more to be allowed to ignore those vital statutory protections, then that is exactly what they intend to do, with inevitable consequences for the mortgage holders. The government also says that the two other mortgage books that have been sold, and you referred to this, Taoiseach, earlier on, to unregulated entities, and they have decided to voluntarily comply with the Code of Conduct. That cuts no ice with me, because the reality is they may comply with the code for as long as it suits them, but when they decide not to comply with that code any longer, there is sweet damn all that any mortgage holder can do about it, and that is the truth. And the notion that somebody taken to court by an unregulated entity that they will not be able to get a repossession order because the code has not been complied with. Are we really suggesting that that is the fate that we want people to be left with? That the unregulated entity can take you as far as the court and you hope that the judge won't grant a repossession order because they have not complied with the code. That simply is not good enough. Now, the government's argument that there isn't a problem here really has been dismantled by your own intention to bring in legislation to deal with this issue. It's on the legislative programme. It's called the Sale of Loan Books to Unregulated Third Parties Bill. It's number 93 in Section C, but it's not meant to come in until 2015. So the government acknowledges that there is a problem here, and we have a bill Taoiseach which we are publishing in good faith and which will resolve the problem. We also know that the central bank, as regulator and in its role as consumer protection, is not happy with what you're doing and has written to the Department of Finance asking that the same protections would continue to apply to mortgage holders in this situation. Finally, Count Corley, the sale of the IBRC mortgage book is due to be completed in March. So there is no time to waste, and the 13,000 mortgage holders deserve the exact same rights and protections as everybody else, no more and no less. And I hope that this bill can be debated and enacted as quickly as possible. Thank you.